Our last speaker for this round is going to come at these issues from the nonprofit sector. We're very pleased to have Lynn Broaddus, who's the director of the environmental program at the Johnson Foundation, share her ideas with us. Lynn?
Thank you. It's good to be here. Mayor McFarland, I can maybe I feel a little bit like you do. I feel funny being here. I feel like the imposter. You guys are the real experts. But when Jeff invited me here, I thought, oh, this is a great chance for me to learn from a lot of people. So the price I had to pay was to also have some comments to make. But I want to. Dean Smith started this off by saying that you can't have great communities without great government. And I certainly agree with that statement, but I'm going to extend it a little bit. And I would say you can't have great communities on whatever scale that might be without great nonprofits as well, especially in a democracy like ours. And what do we mean by a nonprofit? Of course, nonprofits come in all shapes and sizes, whether it's universities or hospitals or think tanks. There's all sorts, but I'm going to focus my remarks today on advocacy organizations, especially environmental advocacy organizations, and the special role that they play and can play in the work of financing and environmental protection and restoration. NGOs have an amazing amount of power. I think they might be sometimes surprised at how much power they have. And a recent example, I was hosting a panel for a large conference, and I had 3 panelists. I had someone from a very progressive utility. I had someone from a manufacturing company, plumbing manufacturing company, and I had someone from a national environmental organization. I was talking with each of these people one-on-one by telephone, setting this up, and I could tell that the guy from the manufacturing company was starting to get very uncomfortable as I described to him who the other panelists were going to be. And he finally confessed that he was really worried that the NGO person was kind of going to throw him under the bus because of some of the branding of his company. And I thought, I was kind of astounded at that concern, but it was a very real concern. And I assured him that that wouldn't happen, and of course talked with the other person to let her know that he was concerned about that. But there he was worried about one person from one little NGO who might, with a comment, be able to completely derail the branding that he's trying to be able to come across with his company's very good work in sustainability. NGOs don't have any real power. They don't have any formal power. So where does their power come from? Because it is formidable. And it can be partly from expert power, the work that they do, maybe putting out white papers, putting out reports, developing deep expertise and gaining respect from that. But it also comes from referent power, the power that each individual in our society has through the, thank you. I'm not even looking at that. Through the, somebody else has the power of this thing. Through the power that each individual has, whether it be the power given to them through our Constitution or the power through our various environmental laws. But that power is frequently kind of ceded to these NGOs to work on their behalf. And that power can be used in lots of ways, whether it be to reset a vision, tap the imagination, push the envelope, generate new norms, ask hard questions that may be difficult for others to ask, expose and shine new light into the dark corners of our processes, take the heat, and sometimes on very practical things like accreditation or getting the vote out and getting people to get out and express their opinions. And I'm going to give you a few examples of where NGOs have done this very effectively. And this picture illustrates one of those examples. This is a real mural along the river in Milwaukee, on the Milwaukee River, that the Milwaukee Riverkeeper managed to get up. It's the outfalls are very real outfalls that constantly have water coming through. It's not dirty water, but everybody assumes it is because there are plenty of other places where there is dirty water coming out. And a marketing firm in the city wanted to enter into a contest for an interesting branding campaign and approached Milwaukee Riverkeeper about concepts that they might be able to come up with. Now, Riverkeeper is, of course, working a lot on Clean Water Act, reducing sewer overflows, and really a thorn in the side of the sewerage district in that community. But with the help of some pretty clever marketing, they were able to turn that concept into, and really what they want is for people to reimagine that river as a clean river where for recreation, for swimming, well, ultimately for swimming. It hasn't to that point yet. And by getting this won a statewide award, and he ended up getting permission to put it out on the side of the river, and you can now paddle through it and paddle past it. And it is, it really, when bringing that back to finance, I mean, how are you going to get a community to pay for these changes if they don't believe in that vision of change that they're working toward? So this is an example of a kind of unexpected way that I think that your NGO communities can help drive that change. Another example that that we might not realize the NGO community was very behind. Those of you who follow stormwater and Clean Water Act things know that Philadelphia is way out in the forefront in terms of green infrastructure in a holistic way, not in a sort of boutique project by project way, but really looking for ways to have it be an important part of their Clean Water Act compliance. And of course the financing of that. Well, what you might not know is that the reason that one of the real impetuses behind that was working with the Natural Resources Defense Council. NRDC really helped them broker that with the EPA and they were a partner hand in hand in the initial stages of rolling that out, as well as with figuring out some creative financing ways for that. So that, I don't think that we would have seen that, and certainly wouldn't have seen it as effectively if it hadn't been for working hand in hand with NRDC. We at the Johnson Foundation have been working closely on another effort around water quality trading. There are a lot of water quality trading initiatives being tested in different parts of the country, some successful, some not so successful, sometimes very controversial because the right parties aren't brought into the conversations. And one of the possible, the water quality trading world could be easily undermined if there isn't consistency across the different programs. And so we have worked closely with with WRI, World Resources Institute, and a group out of Portland, Oregon, the Willamette Partnership, which is heading up a water quality trading collaborative to come up with agreed upon standards. And this is hard work, but it is something that these NGOs are going to the mat on. They're passionate about it and are willing to put in the work required. The last example I want to leave you with is CERES, a group that I know Jeff Hughes in the Environmental Finance Center has worked closely with, CERES, C-E-R-E-S, which has done a lot of, I would say, really transformative work around shining a light on the risk behind a lot of the bonds and the financing for water infrastructure and other environmental infrastructure, and really kind of calling the question and saying, we as people, we as investors deserve to know what your risk portfolio is and make sure that you're taking certain things into account. So that was really pushed forward, I would say, to a new place by CERES. You know, Jeff, you said that the financing, ultimately needs to be fair, equitable, legal, sustainable, and I would add aligned with society's goals. And I think that the NGO sector plays a really important role in sort of being the third leg of the stool, with that between the regulator, the payer, and then the sort of conscience that's brought to the table by the nonprofit community. So I look forward to some questions. Thank you very much.